Hello everyone, this is Sharko W here. Today I'm going to be rounding out the Overwatch Ultimate Abilities tier list series that I've made. Be finishing it off with the supports of the game. A few things to keep in mind with this tier list. First one is I'm doing this as of the June 30th, 2020 patch. I'm mainly doing this, revolving this list around the ultimate abilities themselves, not their heroes and their other abilities and where they kind of fall in the general meta. So in general, it's basically about how do these ultimate abilities do on their own, how do they do in situations where you can combo them with other ultimate abilities, and just overall what can they do, what kind of utility and value do they provide um, in the game. So, first hero we're going to be looking at is Ana. Ana's ultimate ability is Nano Boost. Nano Boost is it's an okay ultimate ability. It is good in combination with other ultimates as well as other heroes in general. Throughout the years, Nano Boost has been a staple in some metas in combination with some alts. You played during the early days. Beyblade meta was a big thing with her nano boosting Reaper's ultimate and doing crazy amounts of damage. Nano Blade is a good combination. Nano Boost plus Dragon Blade with Genji. Reinhardt is always a good recipient. Winston, heroes that just want to get in the fight and be in melee range, start dealing damage that way. They're good in use with that. Nano Boost did receive some changes. I believe it would have been a couple of years ago now, where it actually does 250 flat healing on the target, which is pretty solid. And then it gives 50% damage boost and 50% damage resistance to the hero that Ana targets it with. One thing to note as far as the negatives go, it's not really a defensive ultimate. I would consider it's more of an offensive ultimate where you really want to initiate the combat. It can be used defensively to kind of save a hero, but overall it's mainly used in like an offensive or aggressive context, I would say. Another thing is it's not does have the same utility that some of the other support alts have, such as Sound Barrier or Transcendence. I think it can you can force the enemy team to use their defensive ultimates or key cooldowns to kind of take care of the nano boosted target. So I consider that to be pretty valuable. Ana's ult, I consider it's okay. I was thinking C tier for Ana's ult. I think it's pretty average among the support alts. It's good in its own way, but it also has a few negatives and lack of defensive utility. So I'm gonna put it in C tier. Next we have Lucio with Sound Barrier. Sound Barrier is a fantastic ultimate. It's been a staple in the game for a very long time. So Sound Barrier provides I believe it's a 1200 HP barrier that goes away after, I want to say, let me just check. Or it's a 750 HP shield that lasts 6 seconds and it goes away over time. So Lucio's ultimate is really good for countering all sorts of other ultimates. It can also be good for starting an engage through like a tight choke where you know a bunch of damage is to come through. You can get your team through it and they get through the choke and then you can actually team fight. But it's really good at countering just about every ultimate in the game, if we're being honest here. It counters almost all of the offensive ultimates, counters a lot of tank ultimates, so like Earthshatter, Graviton. If you time it right, it can actually protect you from a well-placed Diva Bomb that you just can't escape out of. So, the only thing that really... There are two things that counter Sound Barrier really heavily. The first one is EMP. EMP completely takes away all the shields that Lucio put down. And also, Lucio can get killed before he actually drops the beat. The first one, the counter is only available if the enemy team runs a Sombra, which isn't particularly common these days. Sombra really isn't like a mainstay. I mean, I see her few and far between in my games. And then the other one, I would say that's more player error if you get killed, or maybe just like you got outplayed. So I don't consider those to be key negatives. So I think honestly, Soundberry, just because of how good it is, how versatile it is, in both offensive and defensive context, its ability to counter all of the pretty much all the alts in the game, I would say it's an easy S tier ultimate. Next, Moira. Coalescence. Okay, so Coalescence is, I think it's a really good ultimate. Moira has been a mainstay in most elos in the support role. Coalescence, it does something that very few ults in the game do. It provides a ray that goes past shields, both yours and the enemy team's, and it does damage and healing at the same time with the straight ray blast that Moira uses. Provides 70 damage per second, and it does 140 healing per second. And also, Moira herself gets 50 healing per second, so she's getting like a lifesteal effect, so it gives her a ton of sustain during the ultimate. She can heal her team during it and damage the enemy team at the same time through shields. That's what makes it so good. There's really only there's one key way to counter, and that's you can stun Moira out of it. So that's something that can be easily done. She does get a bit of a speed boost during the ultimate as well, so she can be a little bit hard to chase down, but as long as you get the stun timing down right, it cancels out the ult completely. I would have put it in S tier, but I think there are a lot of stuns in the game. I mean, it's basically CC watch these days. So I think it's a really good ultimate, super versatile in a team fight. You can heal people, you can like chase down kills, you can kill people yourself. But I think it's an A tier, very good ultimate, but with a very easy counter. I think that's the only thing keeping it from S tier. All right, so we got Mercy. Mercy's ultimate is Valkyrie. Valkyrie is an ultimate that lasts, I believe it is 15 seconds. She gets movement speed, and basically she heals or damage boosts the entire team within the radius of the ultimate ability. It's an alright ultimate ability. I mean, it gives Mercy a power-up as well to her fire rate. So, and also she can stay in the air and hover around a lot longer, which is okay. I mean, it's interesting that she can chase down kills, become a little bit more of a threat in a team fight as far as damage goes. It doesn't do too much for her overall healing output, increases it somewhat, but it gives Mercy a lot of sustain as well. I just think the ult doesn't do as much for your team as it does for Mercy herself, and Mercy is the pretty much one of the few heroes in the game that is pretty much like just a primary healer. She doesn't offer much else. I mean, she gives the damage boost, but she herself doesn't do much other than like those two things. So honestly, like, I don't think it's that great. So I'll put it in C tier because I don't think any ult that heals your team and I guess gives a buff to heroes that bad. But it's definitely not. It's one of the worst support ults, I would say. All right, next, Baptiste with Amplification Matrix. It is a window that he puts down. I believe it's a 5x5 meter radius window that Baptiste puts in front of him, and then any damage, any projectile or bullet that goes through the shield or ability, basically it has to be a projectile. It can't be like Genji's Dragon Blade Slash or Reinhardt's like hammer swings. Don't do more if they go through the window, but it provides double damage for anything that goes through it, which it can be really good. I mean, like if a Junkrat or a Pharah shoots one of their, or Hanzo, I guess, even, shoots one of their projectiles through there. That's a one shot on a lot, all the 200 HP heroes, all the squishies in the game. That could be okay. I would say the one easy counter around this would be to just avoid where the line of sight of the window is. I think it's generally pretty easy. So double damage is pretty good, and it can work really well with certain comps, especially like a bunker comp. If you have like an Orisa Sigma, like a Bastion and a Baptiste, you can slap that down. Just have the Orisa Bastion. You go to town on the enemy team, just free fire damage at them. But I don't know. It's okay, but I don't think it's really particularly good. I don't think any support ult is like a D tier. I mean, it does provide utility for your whole team, so I'd say it's another C tier ultimate. Nothing really that special. Next up, we got Zenyatta. Zenyatta's ultimate is Transcendence. So Zen goes into an invincible state during his ultimate, and he provides 300 healing per second in a 10-meter radius. Zenyatta himself also becomes invincible during the ultimate, so it's a pretty good utility for him, especially because he's a hero that has no inherent mobility or escape potential. So it can be good with getting Zenyatta out of some sticky situations where you don't want to die in a team fight. It can be used in defensive or offensive capabilities, so it's pretty versatile that way. It's very similar to Sound Barrier in that way, but there's some key differences between Transcendence and Sound Barrier that make Transcendence just a little bit worse. For one, Transcendence does healing. It doesn't provide like a shield. So Transcendence doesn't protect you against all burst damage in the game. If something does like an incredibly high amount of burst damage, Transcendence won't heal your teammate through it. So like a Diva Bomb or a Riptire, let's say like a Bastion Takedown Shell does 250 damage. A straight up headshot from like a Hanzo or a Widow won't protect you like 200 HP target from getting killed. So that's like the key difference, is it doesn't counter against heavy burst damage. It's really good at countering sustained damage, so things like Tac Visor and Dragon Blade it's good for. So I still think Transcendence is a good ultimate. Not quite on the same level as Sound Barrier, so for that reason, I'll put it in A tier. Still really good. Is an ultimate that can really get your team out of a jam, can counter like a Grav or like an Earth Shatter, things like that, but it doesn't counter against heavy burst damage. Alright, last but not least, we got the Antichrist. Just kidding. We have Brig. Her ultimate ability is Rally, and Rally provides your teammates 30 shields per second for 10 seconds in a visual aura around Brig, similar to what Lucio's heal and speed auras are. It also gives the same ability to Brig, and then her regular healing output is still the same. So you're giving healing and shields at the same exact time. I still think this is a pretty good ultimate. I'd say it's better off with more of an aggressive or offensive context, or like a situation where you want to be more aggressive in a team fight. It can counter like ultimates like Dragon Blade and Tac Visor, some sustained ultimates. It doesn't always do a great job at countering more burst damage, but it definitely can. Just because the way armor works, it blocks. I believe now it blocks five damage per bullet. But if like a Riptire just rolls through, it's not really gonna protect you from 600 damage per se. But yeah, I mean it goes well with Brig's kit overall, because you want to be more aggressive with her. You want to be brawling a lot more and being in the team fight. That way you can provide healing and utility to your team. So I think it's okay. It's not as good as like Transcendence or Coalescence or Sound Barrier, but I think it's better than the alts that are at the C tier for the support heroes. So I think I'm comfortably putting it right around in the middle at B tier. Just it's an above average ultimate ability, not totally fantastic on the defensive end, and it's much better off in a little bit more prolonged team fights rather than quick and quick get in, get several kills, make them a team backup kind of scenarios. So, yeah, so that is my tier list for the support ultimate abilities in Overwatch. Remember this as of the June 30th, 2020 patch. Let me know what you think about my tier list, and let me know where you rank some of yours. I appreciate you watching the video, and I hope everybody has a good day. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.